Go to sleep right now or Dogman will take you, my aunt said, trying to get me to sleep. What does Dogman look like? I asked in my thin 9-year-old voice. He is tall. Yes, very tall. His head is a dog's, his body is human, and, his ears are long. He can hear every sound. What does Dogman do to kids? He takes them to the forest. He visits children who don't listen to their parents. He takes them away from their families and brings them to his forest. Will he take me too? If you behave, he won't take you anywhere. That was enough to scare me. I kissed my aunt and ran straight to my room, jumped into bed, and pulled the blanket over my head. Dogman was a legend in our small village. Adults mostly used it to warn children. Sorry for changing the subject. I lost my parents in a car accident when I was 5, so I lived with my aunt in a small village. You don't have to feel sorry for me. I had long gotten used to it. My aunt's house was at the very end of the village, and beyond it was a large forest. No one my age lived in the village, so I had 2 options for fun. Either listen to the conversations of the teenagers who sat in the village playground every night or hang around in the forest behind our house. Because the forest was so big, I chose the first option and listened to the teenagers every night. I barely understood most of what they talked about. Usually politics, football, some recent event, or sexual stuff. Because of my age, they bullied me. But instead of sitting at home bored, I preferred being bullied by a few teenagers. One night, their topic was scary stories. One of them told some stupid, fake paranormal story his friend had experienced. Another talked about creepy noises he heard at night. These dumb stories were terrifying for a child like me. They must have noticed because one of them turned to me and said, "Hey, Jack, are you scared? I don't want you wetting yourself and stinking up the place." To look brave, I said, I wasn't scared. I wish I had told the truth. All right then, prove it. If you can prove you're braver than us, we can take you to a hunt or something like that. What do you say? Yes, definitely, I said excitedly. Then come with us. They took me to the forest at the end of the village. The howling sounds coming from inside terrified me. If you want to pass the challenge, you have to stay in this forest for 10 minutes, one of them said. His voice was serious, but the others were holding back their laughter. If you're scared, you don't have to do it. But if you don't, never ever come near us again. But I don't want to. Dogman will take me. All right then, guys. If you don't want to watch a little brat whining, go back to the park. Everyone laughed, calling me a coward, and began to walk away. Wait, I yelled. Okay, I'll do it, I said reluctantly. They immediately came back. One of them took out his phone and set a timer for 10 minutes. They said if anything happened, they'd be right here and help me. Then they sent me into the forest. The forest was very dark, but the moonlight was enough for me. I walked for a few minutes. The only sounds were my footsteps and my breathing. Even though nothing happened, I was scared, terrified. I stopped and looked back. The teenagers were tiny dots in the distance. They couldn't see me, so I decided to stay where I was. After waiting a bit, I planned to return, even if it wasn't exactly 10 minutes. But my plan was ruined by a sound. A rustling sound coming from a little farther away. I tried to calm myself. It was probably just a hedgehog or something. When I looked toward the sound and saw nothing, I felt relieved. But then, another sound made me freeze. A low growl. I immediately turned to where it came from. It was there, 25 or 30 meters away, a figure. A tall figure with a head resembling a dog. I froze for a moment. What I was seeing didn't feel real. I think it hadn't seen me yet. It was focused on something far away, standing completely still. Then it suddenly lifted its head, as if sniffing something in the air. I couldn't breathe from fear. When I finally gasped for air, what happened next would give me nightmares for years. The creature slowly turned its head toward me, its mouth wide open. Its teeth were sharp like nails. It made a sound like a growl, and we stared at each other. Maybe it was only a few seconds, but it felt like hours. I ran screaming. I expected the teenagers to be waiting for me at the forest entrance, but the bastards had left me. I kept running all the way home. When I arrived, my aunt was in the garden, grumbling while dealing with something hanging from a tree. "What happened?" I asked, trying to hide my shaky breathing. "Those assholes lit something like a firecracker and hung something on the tree." "I'm dealing with that. Go to bed." I glanced at the tree. Hanging from one branch was a dog collar, long, silky, red with white bone patterns. I ran straight to my bed. I couldn't sleep for a long time. Finally, I convinced myself that one of the teenagers dressed up as Dogman to scare me. That was the only way I could sleep. When I woke up in the morning, something felt off. It was around noon. My aunt hadn't woken me up. Normally, she woke me at sunrise. Maybe she woke up late too. I got out of bed, and that's when I smelled it. A faint smell, like meat. One of my nostrils was blocked, so I couldn't smell it fully. I assumed my aunt cooked something like pastrami for breakfast. I washed my face and went to the kitchen, but it was empty. I searched the entire house, but she wasn't there. I ran outside. I wish I hadn't. What I saw made me break down crying. My aunt's body was hanging from a dog collar tied to the tree. One of her arms had been ripped off and was lying on the ground. The flesh of her leg was completely eaten. Only the bone remained. Parts of her body had bite marks. Some chunks of flesh were missing. Her abdomen was torn open, some of her organs on the ground, some hanging out. Her body was covered in dark red blood. My crying brought the neighbors. When they saw the scene, they called the police. I don't remember what happened afterward. The police kept the incident as a secret. After my aunt's death, I was placed in an orphanage. I stayed there until I was 20. Then, with the money I earned from a cashier job, I found a house on the other side of the country. I built a stable life, got married. My wife Mary gave birth to a daughter. I raised my child and enrolled her in school. Somehow, my mind managed to bury that memory. Now let me tell you why I told you all this. Yesterday, my daughter asked what the thing hanging from the tree in our backyard was. I went to the backyard, and what I saw took me back 30 years. An old, silky red dog collar with bone patterns. It's 2 a.m. now, and I'm writing this in front of the window facing the backyard. This time I won't let it take my family. I have my gun next to me. The backyard is dark, I can't see anything. But in the silence of the night I can hear something, a raspy, huffing breath,